Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
Look, 2020 has proven to be the year of many things, and the same for 2022. But if you're a small business, this could also be the year you switch to a better payroll. Gusto wasn't just built for small businesses, it was built for the people behind them. Their online payroll is easy to use. Gusto can automatically calculate paychecks and file all your payroll taxes, which means you have more time to run your business. Plus, Gusto does way more than payroll. Gusto helps with time tracking, health insurance, 401ks, onboarding, commuter benefits, offer letters, access to HR experts. You get the idea. It's super easy to set up and get started. If you're moving from another provider, they can transfer all your data for you. It's no surprise that 94% of customers are likely to recommend Gusto. And here's the best part. Because you're a listener to this podcast, you get 3 months totally free. All you have to do is go to gusto.com/compliance. That's gusto.com/compliance. I'm telling you, you're going to love Gusto. Get started today. The Daily Compliance News for September 27, 2021. The It Wasn't Me edition. And we begin with that story from Bloomberg, which reported that former chairman of WPP, Sir Martin Sorrells, when asked about the FCPA enforcement action involving his company, said the following: "I had no part or involvement in the settlement between the SEC and WPP. My personal commitment to compliance and controls during almost 50 years of value creation has been rigorous and remains so. I note that there have been terminations of only certain senior executives and other employees at WPP involved in the misconduct as a consequence. I left WPP as a good leaver, as its statement of April 14, 2018 made clear." If that's not a non-denial denial, I don't know what is. Tricky Dicky could not have said it any better. And that tells you, I think, everything you need to know about the culture of WPP. Next up, from the Wall Street Journal, President Biden has nominated Sual Amarova, a Cornell University professor, to head the Office of Comptroller of the Currency, selecting an outspoken critic of the banking and crypto sectors to oversee the biggest U.S. banks. The White House announced the pick Thursday, noting if confirmed, she would be the first woman of color to head the agency. Liberal senators cheered the decision. Elizabeth Warren approved of it, but she faces a potential difficult path to confirmation in a closely divided Senate. Her advocacy for some systemic changes is raising alarms with Republicans and those Democrats owned by the banking industry. Next up, a big case that's reported starting last week, but's had implications for the rest of the weekend, is the Huawei resolution. The former Huawei executive, who was under house arrest in Canada as the U.S. was seeking extradition of her to the United States, has settled. The company has settled via DPA, and she has been allowed to return to China. Immediately thereafter, China released 2 Canadian citizens who had been arrested on bogus and trumped-up charges, clearly showing that if you're a compliance officer and you're in China and something happens between China and the U.S., you are really at risk. And every company needs to understand that their employees in China are at risk of being arrested if the U.S. does something China doesn't like. Finally, and very interesting news, a group of finance chiefs from large international companies are urging peers to tie more of their corporate financing to corporate sustainability goals. They want to see more investment in companies that are not only diverse, but also have sustainability as a part of their overall portfolios going forward. So it's very interesting that now companies, in addition to public companies, in addition to PE firms, are pushing forward investment in ESG.
The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.